What is up, guys? It's Blackout Stream B here, and yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. I haven't been live on this channel for at least 7 or 8 years, but I've decided to kind of just start up again and also launch a Twitch, which you can find it right here or in my description below. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. I kind of got the encouragement and all that stuff from a bunch of other people. I'll make sure to comment and link their channels below too before the end. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. I'm not sure what content I'm gonna produce here, but at least today we'll be discussing some horror movies because I'm of course a huge horror fan myself. I have watched so many horror movies over the years. It's crazy. It's probably at least over 200. But specifically in mine, we're gonna be talking about the Conjuring Universe because the most recent one came out, and those movies are very, very publicized, and there's a lot known to them. And yeah, but I'd like to bring in my first guest and just a good friend of mine, and I'll make sure to link his channel also. But we have ohmydiaz 22, or known as Eddie. How you doing, Eddie?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
So today we'll be talking about the Conjuring Universe, and so what do you think of those movies?
Well, before I even get to the topic of the movies, I like how both of us have horror streams in the same day. So I don't know. I guess you copied me. I guess you know where talent can be found. But we're going to the point. We're going to the point, though.
Yeah.
No, I love the I love the Conjuring films. Even the ones that are kind of it's set in the universe. Obviously, the franchise in general that set in that universe, I like it. But going straight to the Conjuring films, 1, 2, and 3, yeah, I think they're all good. I prefer the first one out of the other two. But like I'm saying, I like the format with the jump scares and everything else. I think it's well established that universe.
Yeah, I totally agree too. I mean, I love where they started out with. They started off kind of like, as they gone on with the films, you can definitely see that there's a difference in time, and they kind of jumped all over kind of the universe. Like we have like movies like The Nun that take place before all the other movies, but yet it came out later than all of them. I think I kind of like that because when you watch the other movies, they all somehow connect, and I love that about franchises. They're able to connect and bring more characters in and introduce new people, but then also shine on the older characters that everyone knows and loves, and that's why I think they've done really well. But
no, I would agree about it. It's a shame though, because like I said, some of them aren't as good as others. Like yeah, you can make a claim with The Nun or La Llorona or the first Annabelle movie. In my opinion, I think James Wan should have did everything, but obviously he has stuff to do.
That is true. That's true.
Yeah,
Aquaman.
Because after that, he mostly just went to being like a producer. After that, he stopped directing the movies.
Yeah, and specifically for The Conjuring 3, he was just an executive producer and kind of like helped out the director and did all those things. But yeah, I saw some behind the scenes for the newest one, and yeah, it seems like he kind of had more of a hands-on approach to this movie because he was working heavily with the director and making sure that he takes on this franchise really well. I think the new director did really good things. I really loved the story they told, but there's some things that just made me really cringe. And have you seen the third one, Eddie?
Well, yes, I already seen it.
Yeah. I mean, if you can specifically talk about that one, I'll say that one for later because I have a couple movies in mind that I'd like to start off with, which I will share my screen real quick and I'll bring up the first topic of discussion right here. And that would be the first Conjuring movie.
Love it so much.
Yeah, this is what started it all, and I think it's probably holds up to be one of the best films in the franchise simply because it was longer. It was a longer horror movie than what most people are used to. I think it was at least 2 hours.
Can you repeat that again? Because I was looking at Zeno's comment of him talking shit.
What does Zeno say?
I think it's something about you.
No. Well, I'll see right here. Yeah. Yeah, those are just little clips from my Twitch. I just wanted to put some content on here just to kind of revive it just for a little bit before I put more content. I think I'm going to try to figure out how to stream games to here and also Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wanted to do this real quick because I just watched the third Conjuring over again with my dad because he loves those movies too. And I just thought that this would be a good discussion because these are kind of the more prominent horror movies right now, and it has a lot of traction to a lot of people. But man, this first one, I just Googled it and it's just below 2 hours. It's 1 hour and 52 minutes, which then again stands kind of closer to the typical horror movie kind of the structure. Most of them are 1 hour and 45 minutes, and the first 30 minutes are kind of build up and kind of show the jump scares a little bit and kind of tease what's going on, and then the rest of the movie is kind of the build up, and then in the end it's maybe 15-20 minutes of just conclusion, and then it wraps up, which this movie does and paces it perfectly, and that's what I love about it. It holds up and introduces the characters really well. And I think, and it just has some very eeriness that you really don't see in a lot of horror movies. There's a lot of horror movies that do really well and kind of scaring the audience, and they always do jump scares. But this movie doesn't always do jump scares. That's the jump scares are of course scary, but it's not what draws and what people like about this movie. I mean, I like the jump scares, but it's more about the build up, I guess, and kind of the little odd, creepy things that make this franchise so good. But then that's what kind of drops off with me and some of the spin-offs, like The Nun. They just focus too much on the jump scares, and it takes away from the movie. But yeah.
No, I like the jump scares. And when did the first one come out again?
2013.
2013. Wasn't that the same year as in Insidious?
I think that was 2010 because I know he started doing the Insidious James Wan because I think he also did those movies. He did those around 2010. Yeah. I'm just gonna make sure.
Yeah, cause I was trying to make a claim that I think those franchises were going at each other until Insidious effed up.
Yeah. That was okay. So the first one came out in 2010, and then I think and then the chapter 2 came out in 2013, the same year as this movie came out, which. It's really funny because James Wan always kind of brings about the same people, like Patrick Wilson. He was in Insidious, and they kind of have the same vibe to them. How they go into their sleep or whatever and all that. I can't remember what the term is, but kind of reminds me of when Lorraine goes and kind of sees the spiritual world and sees people. Yeah, it reminds me of the same thing. It kind of has the same little stop motion with the ghosts too, and how they just do quick movements. But man, this movie is by far probably one of the best. I think the Conjuring movies, just the three of them, are probably one of the better ones of all of them. But this one's probably my favorite around. I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely. No, it's definitely my favorite too. And something about it too with the Conjuring 3. If you haven't seen it, people aren't being too kind to the Rotten Tomatoes at all.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I can't really complain with that one. Because, I mean, it's a good story, but just man, just come on. But so what was your favorite part of the first Conjuring movie?
I don't know how to really break it down because I was gonna also say that I think this changed the way horror movies in this structure was, because the format with the jump scares and everything was something new, and I don't know, just it's really hard to explain. But what I really liked was obviously the jump scares themselves. It was definitely scary, scenes when she was locked. I forgot the mom's name when she was locked in the basement, and then
Carolyn.
Then the ghost said, "Want to play hide and clap?" And then the hands were right there. I was like, "Oh my gosh, hell no!"
Yeah, that was in the trailers. That was probably one of the scarier parts of the trailer. I mean, I was really young. I was around 12 when that trailer came out, and overall the movie came out. So I didn't watch it because I watched the trailer. I'm like, hell no, this looks horrifying. I'm gonna dip out. I'm gonna wait later to watch this. And then I really loved the movie. I mean, just the family aspect of it all was kind of the culmination, I guess, of kind of like one of the themes of the film, because that's what ended up saving her in the end, and saving, of course, the Warrens too. That's like a huge aspect to them, especially if you watch the Annabelle movies. Like Annabelle, I think it comes home. It's focused on their daughter, which is kind of crazy considering that we haven't seen too much of the daughter, but it infers that she also has the same kind of like abilities as her mother, which I don't know if that's entirely true, because apparently it's kind of like, I don't know. I'll get into kind of the controversy later on, because there's a lot of controversy around the third one.
Which one? The third Conjuring?
Yeah, the third Conjuring one.
Oh yeah, because there's controversies with all of them, because obviously it's based on reality. Even though you can argue the fact that if ghosts are real or not, or paranormal, but people were actually in those, like the people that they went to save. Even they called it out, saying, you guys didn't help us at all. You just made it worse, or the problem didn't end, or stuff like that.
Yeah,
or some of this was,
or they lied to get publicity and make money and all that. Which that's something that's specifically that I was going to mention around the third one, which I'll mention in a little bit. But let's get into the next film right here, and that is The Conjuring 2. So this movie, I feel, I just recently watched this, because I just binged all of them in the timeline order, because you can Google, and the first movie starts off with the nun. I think it goes to Annabelle, and then it goes on to The Conjuring, and then so on. But this one, I think, is a very close second to me. I feel, because specifically it kind of introduces more creepiness, I guess, with like the nun, which I think was probably one of the freakier parts of the whole movie. Even though this one I felt wasn't as scary as the last one. This one is kind of more just like emotional thriller, I would best describe it as, but I still think it holds up to be a very good horror movie.
And no, I'll talk about it right now. But look at Zeno saying he was scared of the witch from the first movie.
The witch. Oh yeah,
I will say this. I hate so much how they do that throwing up in your mouth thing. Oh my gosh,
dude, it is. Gosh. It makes me cringe, because it just it makes me feel violated somehow. Like watching this, it makes me feel like odd. It makes me like, it gives me a tingle, because it's just nasty, bro. Like, why gotta puke in their mouth? Like, come on.
And you can't fight back because you're like frozen with like some magic bullshit.
Some sorcery going on.
You're all frozen and shit while they throw up in your mouth.
Because you notice how, like, in the first one, like, she, like, it started off with like kind of like what did they say? Like, there's 3 stages. It's like oppression. It's like, I don't know how, there's like 3 stages that they said in the movie which she experienced, but it started off with like the bruises and all that, and then it kept happening. And then she kept getting, like, honestly horrified, especially with the clocks, and then what you said with the hide and clap stuff. That was freaky as hell. But also, can we pay respect to that stunt actor that fell down those stairs? Like, that looked like it hurt. Like, she got pushed and it just, bam, smashed her head against that piano. I was like, damn, bro, they better pay her a lot.
Yeah, I'll give her credit for that.
Yeah. Well, just want to say what's up to Nate for stopping by. Of course, Eddie. Yeah. And then what's up to Rhea? She gave me my infamous name in Saggy's Discord, which she plugged in her channel, which you should also go subscribe. That's the first channel I like to mention, Saggy Melonz. But make sure you spell Melonz with a Z, because otherwise you'll find some really creepy stuff.
Yeah, I did the same thing too by accident.
Yeah. It's a fun stuff. But she's a really cool person. You should definitely check out her channel. Great friend. But yeah, out of all the Conjuring movies or all the universe movies, where does this stand for you in terms of all the films?
I don't know. I do think it's a worthy sequel, and I do like how the Valek, the demon, was actually smart with it, trying to make it look like it was fake. The whole paranormal activity thing. So I do. That was a good twist. How the demon tried to fake it all, even though it was real. And then like all the stuff with Janet too. That was some scary ass shit. The crooked man was scary as hell. Hell no.
Yeah, and I heard when that movie came out, they're gonna do a spin-off with the Crooked Man, which I was like, I don't really know how they would do that, but I mean, okay. I mean, I'll watch it because I love the movies, and if James Wan does it, I love all his movies, so I'll definitely see it. But I don't know, man. I'm glad that they didn't go with it, because obviously if they were to go forward with it, they would have done it by now. But I'm glad they didn't. But I'm glad they did The Nun instead, because that movie was very, very interesting. I think they said it was the darkest chapter of the Conjuring universe, but I felt like it was more like the weirder version of the Conjuring universe. But yeah, I specifically think like the scariest part of this movie was at the very end when they said that the mother died in the same chair that Bill Wilkins died 40 years earlier. And that just kind of shows like it's some really freaky shit. But I didn't look too much into that because I just kind of took it at face value. But I could probably find out later on like if that's true or not, or if that was just to put some more freakiness on, which who knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah, and that's part of the controversy too, because I think it was something with the family said that the Warrens had helped them, and even the whole thing when it was actually going on back in what it was the 70s, right?
Yeah, I think it was 71 or 72. I could
because it was over the news back then, and even people are still to this day don't even know if she was faking it or not. If people are saying she had like a personality disorder or anything like that, I don't know.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of people have brought up in many discussions there. But I have an image pulled up. So The Conjuring 2 takes place in 1977. It takes place only 5 years or 6 years before the third Conjuring movie. It's like the most latest one. But then it also, because there's I think there's like 8 or 9 movies in the whole franchise, which I didn't know the Curse of La Llorona was in the Conjuring universe until they shown the same priest that was in the Annabelle movie, and they showed him with the Annabelle doll. I'm like, so this movie is actually like better, and it was like it got me excited. I'm like, oh shit, this is part of it. Which I mean, I would love to see more, I guess, of La Llorona, but I thought that movie was okay. I thought that was scarier than this one for sure.
Then The Conjuring 2?
I mean, for me, I like I said, I've seen so many horror movies. There's like not a ton of scary horror movies like this that's really scare me, but that one kind of got me a little bit freaked out because I don't know, bro. I mean,
no, there were some good scenes, but I don't know. But no, there were some good scenes, and La Llorona is scary as hell, especially like that bathtub scene when she put her hands on her hair.
Bro!
Oh my god! How did you not tell that wasn't your mother?
Cold ass hands on your head. I mean,
and they were like kind of sharp too. So I was like, damn, like,
yeah, she needs to get a pedicure for sure. She needs to go see somebody for that. But I mean, man, I just love the way they kind of like do those movies and all that, and it really intrigues me to figure out how like the setup is and like their sound stage and all that stuff, and how they get all like the windows and doors and picture frames to like fly off the wall and stuff. It must be a little bit of CGI, or it just might be a lot of practical effects that people do, because people in green screens or green suits don't show up in the movies. So it could be someone literally just standing under the picture frame and just throwing it, which I could believe that, because I mean there's a lot of green screen going on in a lot of these movies behind the scenes. But bring up the next topic. This one it's the most it's one of the more talked about ones considering The Conjuring 2, but it's the Nun. It's the Nun. Yeah. This one, of all the spin-offs, I did not like this one at all. I thought it was too many jump scares and just just did not work for me.
Yeah, I remember, and Rotten Tomatoes definitely didn't like this either. But something before we could one scene I talk about from The Conjuring 2 is that painting scene. Oh my gosh, that was scary as shit.
Where the nun jumps out of the painting. That was good. That was good. I mean, there's another scene that really. I mean, her staying at the end of the hallway was a perfect shot placement. The way they framed it and how it kind of just the lighting was amazing,
Mm-hmm.
amazing for that one. But man, the way they set up her character in that one compared to what they did for her character in this one definitely was a down.
Yeah, I agree because she was one of the highlights from The Conjuring too. So seeing more of her made sense. Like, okay, let's get it with this good character, and the movie just. I mean, I don't think the movie was really bad. It's just that it was. I don't think it was anything special either.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything that. I think it's just, it was just, got to make that money, got to get that bonus,
Yes.
It's just. I really love the set that they did, but it really didn't. I mean, it didn't give us a backstory of her character, which is something I really hoped that we would see it. But the way they portrayed her character and the way they defeated her was very underwhelming, and just kind of like threw me off. I mean, with her like being like the unholy spirit, and like the Crusaders coming in and then using the blood of Christ to put her back into hell, I thought that was pretty cool. But man, I just think that nun that defeated her in the end and spit all that blood of Christ at her needs to get a test, because I don't know what's in his blood, man. You gotta be careful with that. Putting blood in your mouth, you get diseases like that.
Yeah, I know, but it's Jesus' blood though, so I'm just saying it's pure. You won't get hurt by it.
That is true. I mean, if anything was going to defeat Valak, it was going to be, of course, the most powerful holy weapon, of course, the blood of Christ.
It's kind of weird though. I should have destroyed her. That's like his blood. Like I mean, it's whatever, I guess.
Yeah, which I'm still kind of like confused on, because I'm like, if they defeat her and sent her back to hell, how is she like still kind of like in what's his name, the farmer in their Frenchie? I think they call him Frenchie. I think I'll just go with that. But because they show after scene, when they show the upside down cross on his neck when they're heading back, it kind of shows like, oh shit, and then they do it back and say, oh, and then it shows him getting possessed. I'm like, wow. Like, also with that snake going into his mouth, that's just nasty, bro. That's nasty. They do nasty stuff when people get possessed, and I just think that's one of the weird things in the movies. Like, they spit blood, or like whatever, the spirit into them. Like in the first Conjuring, like the demon Bathsheba is over Carolyn Perrin, and she just starts spewing blood into her mouth. I'm like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah, those scenes are too much for me sometimes.
Yeah, but those are probably like one of like the moments of those movies. But I definitely think they're very, very good scenes in movies. But I don't know. I think this is where the Conjuring universe kind of left my heart, I guess, in a way, because it was a good story, but then the way they defeated her was just it was like it's an action movie, like like they got all in that giant water tub above the crack and they spit blood, and it's just like a very underwhelming ending. I'm like, you defeated her that quick. She's supposed to be like the darkest chapter of the Conjuring universe, yet all you had to do was trick her a little bit. It felt like Game of Thrones season 8 where Arya drops the knife and then just stabs him, and like you tricked the baddest bitch in the room. Like, come on, bro.
I mean, I think the premise was actually smart. A nun fight against a demon nun, or at least a demon in the form of a nun, and obviously a demon haunting the grounds of a sanctuary. I thought that was cool as hell.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree with that. I think probably one of the, I don't know what the freakiest. I think the freakiest part of the movie was like in the very beginning when they show her like coming out and all that.
I mean, a freaky thing too is when all the nuns took a group photo and she was in the background. I was like,
oh yeah, and that was an Annabelle creation too. And they show like, who's that? Oh, that's just I don't know who that is. This is in Romania. I like how they tease other movies and different movies. It's just like, it's so cool, because I'm like, it just shows and continues the story. Like, it keeps bringing people back. Like, oh yeah, this is what happened, and it probably intrigues more people to go watch this movie, which I think is always great, because they, of course, want to get more views and more people to watch their movies, because it's all about profit. And that's what we kind of seen here with all these spin-offs and all that. But specifically, the biggest spin-off, I think, with the Conjuring movies was, of course, the Annabelle movies, which there's 3 of them, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
The first one,
the first one, I don't know. I think the second one is the best because it connects to the first one and it's a way better movie. The first one, man, I watched this right before I watched The Conjuring 3. This was at like 12 in the morning, the day after The Conjuring 3 came out, and I was with my cousins. And oh man, this one did not live up to what I remembered it was. It was just weird and man, it's always funny how the mother or I don't even remember their names because honestly, it's kind of they're just there for a little bit and then they just move on. Yeah. But wow,
yeah, I'll give them credit with the Annabelle movies. At least with the continuity of the cult and her, and then the girl getting possessed and becoming Annabelle, and then going back to killing the couple. I think. In
the
first movie from the second, so something like that. So at least they're good with that to making it, right, the timeline work.
Yeah, I think like what they did here, to me this movie felt kind of like a thing to connect what they wanted to do later on because Annabelle is like one of the most prominent like demonic figures, I guess, in these movies. It's like always like the creepiest things. It's kind of like the source in this third Annabelle movie, because the chick wants to talk to her father and all that because she feels like it's her fault and she wants to like talk to her dad, and then Annabelle's like, okay, let me out and I'll let you see him. But of course it's not him, it's Annabelle. But I felt this movie was good, but does it stand on its own? That's the biggest question.
I'm not sure, to be honest, because I do think this is the worst one out of the three. In my opinion, I don't know. I like the second one a lot because it was a good movie, but I do like Annabelle Comes Home as well. But I'll definitely have this one at third place. It's just that I know what they were going for. It's just that some of this stuff was just not interesting, I think, or maybe it just I don't know. The direction later on improved, but I just don't know what to say about this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this movie only would make sense after the Annabelle creation. I think they should have done Annabelle creation first and then this one, because this one really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, it does because they say that it was a Higgins girl that went back and killed her family because she ran off and then joined this cult and then came back and did a sacrifice. And that was the whole thing. She put herself into a doll, which wasn't the doll in the first place. She came back with the doll because that's why she was there in the first place, because of course the spirit that's possessed what Annabelle, or what we know, is really this demon, and she just had to go back to the vessel, and then she put her soul into the vessel, which, I mean, that's good, but I just don't know if it stands on its own. I mean, when you watch Annabelle Creation and go back and watch this one, and how the ending of the second one brings back and goes, oh shit, this is what the first one is all about. This is how Annabelle is created, and that's the whole point. It's Annabelle creation, which that's why I thought they should have done this one first, or the second one first, because it kind of shows a timeline with the Annabelle movies, because with the Annabelle movies, it like jumps around. The first one starts after the second one, and the second one starts before this first one, and then the third one takes place after, which the third one is in its correct spot in terms of continuity and timeline, but the first one kind of is like a sore thumb in that whole series. But I liked it. I mean, it was okay. I would probably give it like maybe a 75% at most, but it just wasn't all that scary. And I think the ending was very just like wow, with her friend, the wife's friend that helped her.
She jumped out the window or some shit like that to hold it within the evil. It was some stupid shit like that.
I thought that was like the wow of the whole movie, because like she's like, this is what my daughter came back and told me I had a purpose. This is why I'm here. This is my purpose, and it needs a soul. So I will save you all, and I'll give this demon my soul. I'm like, why would you do that, bro? Why would you?
That scene kind of reminded me of the scene from The Exorcist at the end.
Yeah. With the priest flying out. Yeah. That's another. That's like, I feel like that movie is probably still one of the best horror movies ever, just simply because of what it all did. And I mean, I think that movie's kind of scary, but I don't know, man. I all I know is that the person that played the Exorcist, the girl that played
Mhm.
the Exorcist, had a lot of emotional issues after filming those movies. So she was in the second one too, and I know that caused a lot of trauma. But at least it was nothing like the Poltergeist movie where all the actors started slowly dying off.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's entirely true. It just might be a really weird coincidence, but I mean, they just like to spin it like it's part of this lore, I guess, of cursed films and all that. But I mean, whatever.
Yeah, even with that, I think they were complaining because during the set, I'm pretty sure like lots of weird shit was happening too.
Oh yeah, a lot. Oh well, apparently in the first Conjuring movie, there's a lot of really sus shit going on. Like the actor that played Lorraine Warren was getting tormented, and she had scratches on her back, and then that's when she kind of got more into contact with the real Lorraine Warren, and she was just saying like this is just someone or something trying to torment you and scare you, and nothing more. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, when I was like younger, I was like, holy shit, this is some real crazy shit. And I'm like, wow. But I just don't know. It could. Then again, you have to think in like a way like how Hollywood goes. Like, what's better than to promote a movie if something's actually going on behind the scenes, like what's going on with the actor with Lorraine Warren in that first film where she showed pictures of her getting tormented by spirits or whatever that scratched her. I thought that was like very good, interesting promotion because they talked about that a lot in the trailers and stuff like that too. I remember because it was a huge article too around that time, and how they'd always have priests bless the set after that. And like, I mean, when you talk about stuff like that, I mean, of course you're going to want to do that, but I just thought that was kind of, who knows if that's actually true. Maybe it's probably just promotion, but who knows, man. They're trying to promote a movie. It's all about making money. But like you said, there's a lot of controversy. Like, all these people really didn't help us. It's all just a hoax, and that's why I wanted to bring up the third one after this specifically, because this one has a lot of controversy around this one I've read recently, especially with the Glatzel family and all that, and how they said they were just kind of using them for money. Nothing ever happened. They didn't really help us. David was fine. And I think it was David Glatzel, the guy that they showed possessed at the beginning of the movie, that said he wasn't really possessed, which who knows, man. But I mean, he was the guy that was supposedly possessed by this demon or wherever, or cult lady. I don't know, man. This is just weird shit. Oh, you're muted, Eddie.
Oh, I remember too on they're doing like some interview segment things on like YouTube for promotion of the movie, and that they were interviewing him. And I remember some people were criticizing it too. So they're saying that of course this guy is not going to admit that he actually killed someone. Of course he's to say he was possessed.
Yeah, man. But I mean, it's very interesting that this is like an actual tale that this actually happened. That's what I think is kind of really cool about these movies, because they go off of real life events. They're just not made up horror movies. They're based off things that actually happened, which is another thing I forgot to mention about the second Conjuring movie that's also in this one. At the very end, they play like the actual possession tapes, which I mean, I don't know, man. I'm like, hell no, I ain't watching that shit. So as soon as that stuff,
yeah, I cut that shit off. Even if it was fake, that shit sounds scary.
yeah, I'm like, hell no, I ain't listening to that, man. I ain't listening to actual possessions. Like, even if it's fake or not, I ain't listening to that shit because I don't want that bad juju, bro. It's one of those things that I just don't want to mess with. I don't want to get involved. I'm good where I'm at, but I think it's something that's very cool that they do add. But for me, I always skip that part. Luckily, I never saw this movie in the theater, because if I did, I would run out of that theater so fast at the end when they played the possession tape, because hell no.
Yeah, I don't F with that shit either.
Yeah. But specifically this one, I felt like this is definitely one of the worst Conjuring movies out of the whole universe. It was very, very just what the hell. I mean, with the first scene with David Glatzel getting possessed and how it looked like a damn tornado was flying around their house and all the glass was flying around, there's like a bunch of sand going around. Like, what is with that? Why?
I mean, that shit definitely look scary though. The way the kid was possessed.
Oh, and how he started bending his body, like doing all that stuff, and like putting his head through his legs and his arm. Like, that's some weird stuff.
Gosh.
I mean, it was freaky, but I just thought that was a little much. I mean, it just did not feel. It just that's where it kind of took me out. I'm like, this is definitely no. Come on, this is definitely not real. Come on, man.
I mean, it was showing how much of a threat that demon was because the shit was doing.
Yeah, but then we found out it wasn't even a demon. It was just this crazy ass, skinny ass chick putting like these cursed witchcraft objects under their houses, and she just like wants to do her ritual and do all this.
No. Wasn't she working for a demon though?
Well, yeah. Well, okay, she was working. She's a cult worshiper, you know, and they mentioned like the Satanists or something of the ram, devils of the ram, or cultists of the ram, something about that, but something with a ram. All I know, because that's what they kept bringing up. But yeah, she was working for a demon because, spoiler alert, at the very end of the movie, because she couldn't complete the ritual, and because Ed broke the altar that she casted him on, the demon could not walk away and go back to hell without a soul. So the demon that came up and was portrayed as her, but with really sinister eyes, took her soul. I think that was probably one of the better parts of that movie. The way the demon came out and then just crippled that lady, that was freaking intense. I just don't know about this movie. I mean, I love how they kind of bring back some of the other things, you know, like they go back to the Warren house and you see some things there. But I just don't know. This movie did not really feel horrifying to me or scary. And it just felt like a huge CGI mess, you know, especially with him, the Arnie Johnson flying in the prison and all that. I just thought it was very weird. And then
I kind of like that scene, and that priest was going in.
Dude,
he did not want to die.
Dude, that priest was like, this is my first gig. I usually don't see shit, but now he's like, he nutted up, man. And I like how like the wind started going and all this stuff. He's like, oh, it's just a draft. I'm like, that was funny. I felt like it was more funny in some aspects than that. I thought the funniest and like one of the better parts of the movie was when they're in the morgue and he broke in. It's like, we'll leave a note. I'm like, that's pretty funny. And then also when the dead body of the obese guy ran at him,
kind of scary to be honest too.
That shit was funny as hell.
It was funny, but I would not want to see something like that in real life.
Hell, I don't want to see any of this. No, hell no. I mean, watching it like from a movie standpoint is not that scary, but that's why I have to figure out, and that's why I kind of like try to put my mind to like, what if this happened in real life, or like what if this happened in reality, and this is like the shit that they actually had to experience, but more dramatized. That would be that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the funniest part was when the obese guy ran at him and then he pulled the rein off and he just like fell like a dead weight and it smacked his head on the thing and it just rang. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is hilarious.
Yeah, he showed up in the house too. I remember.
Yeah, and that's another really wild part about it because it wasn't even a spirit. He was trying to kill Lorraine, his wife, and instead of a crucifix, he had a knife. I'm like, whoa. And it just kind of showed like the huge impact that this witch is having. You know, they have to stop her because she's going to kill them and because she's in their house and all that. And I thought that was really cool and how she attacked them too because she knows how they are. Because, you know, they said that there's a two-way connection because the witch could see Lorraine and Lorraine could see her, which that was cool. I kind of like that. But, man, I just don't know, man. I also thought it was a really cool scene that, like, when they went and tried to solve the other case with the missing girl that was also connected and possessed by this witch. It was funny when they're like, all right, you help me, I'll help you. And then she's like, I need you to pick 1 of 3 knives to figure out and see if you're telling the truth or bullshit. And she's like, it's this one. And it was funny to see those cops in the background, like, betting money on it. But
that was a good scene too when they actually went to like in the woods and Lorraine was doing on that analyzation of what happened to her, that we saw it from like her abilities. It's funny though seeing it from the cop's side. He didn't believe any of that shit. So his expression where she was doing all that shit with like hand movement and everything like that.
Oh yeah, like
that was
going
funny.
through the mirror, and Ed was like, "All right, this is enough," because he's like, "Shit, this cop is thinking we're weird as hell." But I thought it was also, I think he started to believe when they're driving to the location, and she turns around like, "What are you doing?" It's like the body's back there, and he's like, "Oh shit, she knows, she can feel it." But in terms of like what's going on with the other Conjuring movies, I think this one is kind of like an outsider to the other two, because this one's just really out there, man. It's just, I just don't feel like it fits in with the other ones. It has a totally different vibe and all that compared to the other ones.
It's a different director too. It's not James Wan.
Yeah, that too, and just the story, the way it's written, it just, to me, doesn't feel like it fits in well with the other ones. This one does the story. I'm sorry, the story doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And
I mean, you could. I admit it. It does kind of stand out from the other ones, because the other ones were, like I said before, were formatted and structured differently. But like, it all depends on, I guess, on the director too, with their tone and how they do visuals, all that stuff, the direction they take. I said the same thing about Annabelle Comes Home. It definitely stands out with the other two as well. But I think I do like this movie. I think it's definitely not better than the other two, but I think it was. And the way they were promoting it too, like it was to be something crazy as hell. I mean, I don't know about that, but yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is one of those movies that you just go in and you have more of a laugh than a scare or fright. But even speaking of the third Conjuring movie, the third Annabelle movie, I thought that one was somewhat better than this one, because there's some actual freaky parts of that movie, which I thought the chick in the wedding dress was freaky as hell. The way they kind of did like the nun portrayal, and she walked by the window and then ran across the room, and the lighting, that I thought that was the freakiest part of the movie. But
the eye coin ghost, whatever, that was scary.
Oh, what's his name? The ferryman. Yeah, that's what it was. I thought that was
the other people though. When she I forgot the girl's name, but when she went to get a closer look, and then like you saw like the where the coins were placed and that where the eyes were, and then when she went to flash the light, all of them dropped down.
Yeah, that was really good. I saw that. I was camping at the time, and it was a really bad weather, and then me and a bunch of other people went.
Yeah,
and saw that it was really rainy. Like it was horribly raining and storming out, and I remember it was soaking wet going into the theater, and then we sat there for like a while because we got there really early, and then we saw it in kind of a smaller theater. It was that was probably the last Conjuring universe movie that I saw in theaters. The last one was The Nun before that, but that one I left and I just started laughing because that one was like, oof. I was really hyped for that one. I thought that one was going to be the scariest movie of them all, because I thought she was hella scary in Conjuring 2, but that movie just was like, what the hell?
I mean, it's whatever.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, that's why you gotta go with like the spinoffs. You know, you gotta take them with like, you know, these aren't exactly gonna be like the best. They're spinoffs, but I still had hope that they'll do them as well as they did the other ones. But they just don't. The spinoffs don't seem to be as good as the ones that come before. And this third one, the third Conjuring movie, I thought this one was gonna be hella scary. I thought this one was gonna bring it back and kind of be like, all right, we're kind of going into a better direction. You know, we're bringing this universe back. We're gonna start, you know, talking about and giving you guys great stories. But this one was just like, wow. I mean, I'm not gonna. It's definitely not the worst movie in the Conjuring universe, but it's definitely not the best. I thought. I mean, going down in that old guy's basement, which ended up being the father of the witch, I thought that was kind of cool and creepy. I'm like this dude, this man has all his shit locked up too, all his artifacts locked up. I'm like, I was sus from him from the beginning, because this man, how do you not? And then he says he had a kid, and then it's just like, oh, all right, we got it now. But yeah, it's definitely cool. But you know, Eddie, I know you're watching all the Lord of the Rings movie, which you might recognize the old guy in the third movie because he plays the King of Gondor, which you'll see in the Return of the King.
Yeah, just I take my time with that because I do have a problem with the movie lengths.
Yeah, they're exceptionally long movies. I mean, are you watching the
Yeah.
extended cuts of that
Yes,
part?
yes, I am. Yes, I
Okay,
am.
I mean that's for your first time. That's a good. I mean, I would say yeah, go see it all. Don't see anything. But for me,
Hmm.
I've only known and I've only seen like the theatrical cuts, which I'm like, I
Yeah.
didn't even know these are the theatrical cuts because they're already long as hell. I didn't know that there's a director's extended cut on top of that, which I thought that was just crazy. But man,
Yeah, because I have a stream set up for next week, but I don't know if I'll reach that time limit because I'm being lazy right now too, especially because I have to watch the second one and then the third one, then the Hobbit movie. So it's a take. I don't know how long it's gonna take.
oh, the Hobbit movie is gonna take you. I don't know if they're even on HBO Max anymore. If you're watching all of them on HBO Max, I know they're all on there because that's I recently watched them when
Yeah.
I was still in college and all that.
Hmm.
But man, the extended cuts after watching all the other ones, they were you could see obviously because I've seen them so many times that
Hmm.
when you watch extended cut, you see things that you're like, oh wait, this wasn't in the movie. So I think you're definitely going in the right direction with those and like watching
Hmm.
extended cuts because then you can see it all. But yeah, but so far, would you rather watch more of these Conjuring movies or watch more of the Lord of the Rings type movies?
These, to be honest, The Conjuring.
Yeah.
I
But
mean, no, I like the first one. I am invested. It's just that length is just so damn
yeah,
long. I made
yeah.
a little impression video on my channel. Just look at the thumbnail, and you start dying.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah. It's definitely something. They're very. I think they're really well done, and the director
Yeah,
is
it is.
really good because
Yeah.
he did King Kong and a bunch of other movies. But they're
Hmm.
just really long. This man does not know. I mean, he can never. I'm surprised. I think it was it a New Line film and a WB
Yeah.
movie. I'm surprised if it was a WB movie. I would be surprised because we all know that they have they're sticklers on 2 hour time frames.
I'm not sure, but something about it too with the length is people like Hans and Ray are saying it should be longer. I'm like, hell, you guys are bugging.
Yeah, I don't want it to be. I mean, how could they make them longer? Come on, there's no way to make them longer. I mean, for these movies, for the horror movies, I don't think they should ever be longer because then they just add a bunch of filler shit, which is something that this movie had a lot of controversy about too because apparently they WB and other executives cut out a bunch of stuff from this movie, a lot of deleted scenes that was supposed to show and bring about more spin-offs and characters, which I'm kind of shocked. Like, why would they care a lot about making that bonus, making that money? So why would you cut out like other deleted scenes of scarier villains or scary things and then just cut them from the movie? I mean, I would love to see that. Maybe if they put it in a DVD or something, I would love to see those deleted scenes. But
Yeah, I would like to see them too. Warner Brothers are always interfering now with other movies, shortening the length time and stuff like that.
which, as we've seen with such things as um, Batman v Superman. I know this is not a part of the
Yes.
discussion, but that's one of the most prominent things from WB cutting for time. Which I mean,
Hmm.
these are all these different franchises that are under them. So I mean, it also kind of connects to this one, considering that they did the same thing to this movie as they did to
Uh-huh.
Snyder's universe. But I mean, when I just wonder when will they learn that cutting certain elements of their movies is going to hurt them, and definitely it's going to hurt them on this movie. I feel because a lot of people are already trying. I've seen a lot on Twitter of people really wanting to see the delete scenes and the full what the director visioned and put into this movie. And I've already seen the hashtag release the Conjuring 3 cut already. I've already seen it. I'm like,
That's weird.
yeah, everything is the hashtag release the something cut. Everything, the air cut, all that. It's just like, man.
Hmm.
And you got to thank Zack Snyder for that one. But
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, they've done it to recent movies too. Like obviously, The Conjuring 3, Mortal Kombat, Godzilla versus Kong, even the Snyder Cut with one scene.
oh yeah, and that's some funny. That's I think that's really funny that they did that. Like Like, come on, like, no, we can't have Green Lantern. And I'm like, come on, bro. Like, why? What is the reason? We're gonna use him for something. Like, I bet $100 that you're not gonna use the Green Lantern that he was introducing into what you're doing next. I'm probably sure they're gonna do the White Hal Jordan. They're not gonna do John Stewart. And if they do John Stewart, you gotta hire him back.
No, they definitely do. I mean, Hal Jordan is the most well-known one, though.
yeah. I mean, yeah, he definitely is. You know, they had the really bad Green Lantern movie in 2011, I believe it was, which that one felt like all build up and then just like a quick ending. I'm like, wow. That movie was just bad altogether. But I mean, it's just, you know, WB just has to figure out what they want to do, and they just need to like let directors and let the writers do the writing. They just need to make sure that they can finance and produce these movies. That's all they need to worry about. Because if you're gonna like act, because if WB executives are gonna act like writer, director, and then, you know, publisher, they need to like say that and put their names on there, because it's kind of getting ridiculous with how they're interfering with all these different franchises and movies. And I think it's just really crazy, and I just don't like it, because it just takes away from the craft that these people are doing, and it just hinders the work. And I think it's going to lead to a lot of directors maybe not going to want to work with Warner Bros. Or Warner Bros. Properties, because it's definitely something that's becoming a huge issue with all these movies.
Yes, it is. I definitely agree about that.
Yeah, yeah, but definitely check out Eddie's channel, because he talks about all this stuff in great detail, you know, and he has a great channel, you know, a lot of great content, funny guy, very funny guy, and man, it's just these Conjuring movies and the Conjuring Universe movies are just, I like them because I like kind of getting like the real life, or like based on a true story, which whenever they based on a true story, you know that they're going to dramatize the shit out of it, and it's going to be more or less loosely off a true story. They should probably word it differently, loosely based on it, because you're telling me that David Glasso bent his body all in different directions like that, even though he's saying he was never possessed in articles coming out now and saying that they was all hoax trying to get money from them.
So I'm not sure at all. I definitely don't know anything.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to see more of these movies. I really like the franchise. I just hope that they just take a moment and kind of regroup and bring James Wan back fully, because he's the one who started this universe, and all of the movies that he's specifically done have been the better ones. You know, he I don't know who directed Annabelle, but if he did it, then man, that's just like kind of a sore thumb. But geesh, man. It's just one of those things that just is crazy to think about. I mean, well, I'm looking up right here. Nope, he did not. No, he didn't even direct. He didn't direct the first Annabelle movie. It was John R. Leonetti, and he was just a producer. Which, let's see if he did Annabelle Comes Home.
No,
no, he didn't do that one either. He was a producer. No, which that means, which I mean, Annabelle Comes Home was also not a great movie altogether. I mean, it was definitely better than the first one, but geesh, man. I want to see if he did Creation. If he did Creation, then no, it was David Sandberg.
It was Sandberg.
Yeah, which shout out to that man, because that man did a great movie with that one. That movie was definitely one of the better ones in the Conjuring universe. I loved. I feel like that movie was scarier than some of the other ones, especially with like the music and just seeing all those different things and freaking out the kids, and then of course the demon. Because I didn't even realize this when I watched it a second time, when one of the girl who ends up turning into Annabelle Higgins, one of her friend, when she was playing hide and seek with the older girls, she turned and she saw Annabelle sitting in a chair. You could somewhat see the figure of the demon, and he pulls away the chair. I thought that was really good. But yeah, I mean, I don't know really what else to say about these movies other than I just hope that they kind of take a time off for a little bit and kind of regroup. Wait till James Wan gets down to second Aquaman movie, which I think is going to be, I don't know, man. I don't know. The Lost Kingdom. I don't know. That's going to be something. I mean, I'm going to see it because I love what he did with the first one. It made sense with Aquaman's character, it didn't really make sense a whole lot with the story and continuity, because I don't know, man. They just they mentioned Steppenwolf and then it's like and then of course Mira's character was vastly different from what we saw in Zack Snyder's Justice League versus Justice League, and of course in Aquaman, which that's something they have to work on. But yeah, I mean, these movies, I think they're some of the better horror movies, but they're not the best. Well, specifically the spin-offs and then the latest Conjuring movie, they're not the best, but they're also great horror movies. I'm not going to diminish them at all in that aspect, but definitely The Conjuring is definitely kind of like the gold stamp of what a horror movie should, I guess, entail. You know, it should be good storytelling, good character development, and then, of course, some very kind of freaky aspect about it. Not necessarily all jump scares, but, you know, because jump scares are just kind of like, they're there, but they're not exactly the best. I just don't like that. I mean, if you think of movies like Hereditary and Midsommar, those are the kind of like the newer, kind of like really freaky movies. They don't have a lot of jump scares, and they're some of the freakier movies ever. I remember leaving the theater for both of those movies, and I just felt fucking weird. I was like, what the hell? Like, they made me just feel weird because they're just like so out there, you know?
I agree.
Yeah. Did you watch both of those movies?
Just a little bit. I didn't watch that much, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think like these movies and then all the films that they're doing over at A24, that film production or studio, I think they're pumping out great horror movies. Midsommar and Hereditary are one of the better horror movies that's come out in the past decade. I would say that. But because they're not, it's I mean, Hereditary with, of course, the mom on the ceiling banging her head, that was some freaky shit. And it's not a jump scare. It's literally just changing scenes and just seeing that, you know. And I think that's something that a lot of horror directors and people who make horror movies need to realize. Jump scares aren't the only thing that make a movie scary. You know, you can just make a scary movie as is. You don't have to, you know, freak people out and make people jump just by making a loud noise and then showing a frame, you know. And that's why I feel like they're doing a lot of these horror movies, especially in the Conjuring spinoffs and all that. They just all of a sudden up the sound really loud and then show you something, and then it makes you jump. Which honestly, half the time I don't even jump because of what they're showing on the screen. I jump because it's loud as hell. I'm like, I got sensitive ears, man. But that's all I have to say about, I guess, the Conjuring universe. And for horror movies going forward, I just hope that they kind of do less jump scares, I guess, because I just feel like they're very lazy and they're not really well done. If you think of a lot of horror movies, like, do you think jump scares are really well done, or do you think they're just kind of thing that kind of just make you scared or make you jump because it's so damn loud?
I mean, I think it could be both, to be honest with you. Obviously there's some scary stuff, visuals, but you wouldn't know the noises, the music or the noises or whatever definitely help too. I think both of them play a part.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that do it well, but then there's some people that don't do well. I mean, right now I'm rewatching The Haunting of Hill House, and I'm gonna watch The Haunting of Bly Manor. That's something I think that they did very well, or I think, well, because I'm watching it on my Xbox with my speakers now. Because I watched it on my laptop before, and of course you can't blow out my speakers, and my speakers aren't that loud on my laptop. But when I'm playing it on my speakers, and there's like kind of a jump scare, or kind of like they turn the head and it's like someone screaming or something, or like it's just the sound picks up, it kind of like it freaks you out just a little bit because it's just a really creepy noise and it just gets super loud. And I'm like, damn, bro, like this shit wasn't that scary. I didn't jump at any of this stuff, but man, it's just kind of freaky because it's just so loud, and I don't like things being so loud, you know. But I mean, and there's a bunch of more horror movies that are coming out that I'm really excited for. Of course, there's a new Halloween movie.
Yes, hell yeah.
Which I think it's gonna, from what I could tell, it's gonna be right after the 2018 Halloween movie, and it's gonna be kind of a more like, it looks like they're gonna go on a witch hunt for Michael Myers, because it looks like all the comedians kind of standing together and saying enough of this asshole and we're gonna go murder him and all that stuff. And I'm great for that. I'm happy about that, but can't remember if there's any other horror movies that's coming out that I'm truly really excited for, because there's not a whole lot coming out because the COVID stopped production on a lot of different movies. But are you excited for any other horror movies?
All I can think about is Halloween Kills right now. I mean, Candyman might be good. I'm not sure.
Oh, yes. That's something that is something I totally forgot about. I just watched the trailer. I mean, okay, that's something that I was gonna mention, but I totally forgot. Like Jordan Peele, I love him on the Key and Peele show and their comedy series. They're hilarious guys, and I think he's a really good writer and all that. He writes really great movies. Like Us, I think was a great horror movie. There wasn't a shit ton of jump scares, but the story and the way they portrayed these characters was so well, and the acting was top tier. Because they didn't do jump scares, but the way like their characters moved, their facial expressions, and the lighting made it scary. Like when like the other family found the regular family, and they're all sitting in the living room and all that. That was freaky as hell.
And that was a good movie. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, and that's why I am so happy and I'm excited for Candyman, because it's produced by Jordan Peele, and he's a great writer. And Candyman is one of my favorite horror movies, just simply because it's one of those kind of like stories and just movies that kind of just they don't really freak you out. It's just like just makes you kind of like feel kind of weird after watching it. You're just like, what the hell did I just watch? And it's kind of like, I thought it was cool at the very end how like they burned him and all that. I think that I can't remember. I have to rewatch that movie before the new one comes on, and then possibly do a review on that one, because there's a lot of differences I can already tell in the trailers compared to this one. But I'm really excited for that one because Candyman, the music and like the theme of that one, the music is awesome in that one, and the soundtrack and some of the themes in that one have been used in other films and shows, like such as American Horror Story Season 2, Asylum. The theme was used at the very end when Lana Winters escapes or leaves, and I'm like, that was perfect placement for that. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good horror shows too that do really well. Castle Rock is a very good horror show. American Horror Story, that's debatable. I mean, the first 3 seasons are probably one of the better ones. Same with season 4, But with those, yeah, they're freaky. They have jump scares, but it's more about the character development and it's more of an emotional story. Same with The Haunting of Hill House and all those stories. It's more of an emotional thriller, I feel, with scary aspects a part of it, because you see like kind of the culmination, the scary part the first time, but then you see why these people are so scary and why they do the things that they do. And I thought Blind Manor did that perfectly, especially with the soaked lady or whatever. I can't remember, but it's because she forgot who she was and she started turning into mush, and then she'd always return to the lake, which I'm going to be watching to figure out that story, and I'm probably going to make more videos on those 2 series combined and make it in one video and talk about that, because I think those are some very great horror shows. But yeah, there's not too many horror movies coming out that I'm really excited for. I can't believe they have Morbius here for upcoming horror movies, because we have no clue. It's gonna be Sony. It's gonna be kind of like a Marvel, or sorry, yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's part of Marvel, so I don't think they're gonna get too freaky on that. But I think it's just because he's playing like a freakier version of like a vampire. I have no clue who Morbius is even, but I don't see that being a horror movie. But I guess the 2 horror movies I have a lot of hope for is an upcoming Halloween Kills and then Candyman, because I feel like those movies are gonna be really well done and well written, and that's kind of like my hope for the upcoming horror movies. But yeah, I think. Do you have anything else to add, Eddie?
No, I think I'm good. That was a good conversation about the Conjuring movies and obviously the horror movies. A little bit touching on horror movies in general. Obviously, my stream will be like I think I have it set for 7:40 p.m. Eastern time, I think. About it's kind of weird how you're doing this, and then I'm gonna do it like a couple from now.
Yeah, I didn't want to go into specifically a ton of horror movies because I know that's kind of what you're doing. I just wanted to specifically talk about these movies more or less, and then kind of like hope and talk about the hope for future horror movies because I'm a huge horror fan, and I'm definitely going to tune into your stream because I'm very interested to see what you have to say about that, which you guys should all check out Eddie's channel and see that upcoming and subscribe to his channel because he has great content and, you know, just overall great guy. But yeah, out of all the horror movies that you've seen, do you have any favorites, I guess?
Probably the classic ones, obviously Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Child's Play, the first Saw movie, the first Scream movie.
It's always the first one because they always tank after the second and third, you know, because they always have to go off the profits of the first one and they hope to build a franchise.
What else? The first two Jeepers Creepers movies.
Those are good ones. Those are good ones.
The second one's my favorite, but the first one is good.
Yeah.
Let's see how I can think of anything else. Freaking Candyman, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, there'll probably be more I'll think of down the road, but yes, those are probably some of them for now, I guess.
Yeah, which brings up a whole different point of like how film franchises start off really great, you know, like Child's Play, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, and then they start tanking after the first one. You know, the second one's, you know, good. The second ones are always good, but they're never the first one. And then it doesn't, you know, people are like, this wasn't as good, but it's okay. But then they keep doing more and more, like, you know, Freddy movies, Jason movies, Halloween movies. They always start tanking after the first one, which is, I feel, really stands with the Conjuring movies. Because after the first one, they start going downhill, especially with the spinoffs. And then the third Conjuring movie, they lost their touch. And that's what I have to say about these film franchises. They always lose their touch after the first one. And that's why I hope changes with the second Halloween movie. I hope they didn't lose their touch. I hope they stuck with what worked in the first one and include the same level of scare and same level of story. Because if it's not, then I don't know if they're doing a trilogy. And if they are doing a trilogy, then they better hope that they figure it out after the second one if it's bad. Because I don't know, if it's anything like the Lord of the Rings where they filmed all three of those Lord of the Rings movie one after the other, I hope that. I hope they didn't already film the third Halloween movie because I heard they're doing a trilogy. I hope they took a break because I just don't get it. Like, why would you film Halloween 2 and then 3 or Halloween 1 and 2 right after the other if you don't even know if the first one's gonna be successful? It's almost like the Suicide Squad with how they're already making the Peacemaker show before the Suicide Squad even comes out, and honestly, no one really gives a shit about Peacemaker. So it's kind of like they're jumping the gun, literally like James Gunn, but it's funny, man. But thank you guys for tuning in. This was a great stream. I hope to be doing more videos in the future. But if you like the content that I'm starting to produce, especially with streams like these talking about horror movies or different topics, or if there's any other topics you guys want to see, make sure to leave a comment down below and like and subscribe for sure. But I also am producing a lot more content on my Twitch, which this is my Twitch. If you look it up, you'll find a bunch of my past streams and a bunch of my clips. I stream a lot of Warzone right now because that's one of the games I'm trying to get really good at. And I'm streaming a bunch of other games too. I've been playing Borderlands with some of my other friends, like RJ and Hans. And yeah, but lastly, go check out Eddie's channel. He's doing a video later today also talking about horror movies, and it's going to be a great time. Make sure to leave a like and comment on his video, and make sure to also subscribe. He has a lot of great content on there, and make sure to watch some of his other videos. And yeah, do you have anything else to say, Eddie?
I guess just watch my stream later.
Yeah, but it was a good time. I'd like to give a shout out to Also, Rhea, you should subscribe to Rhea's channel. She was in the comment section earlier today. She does a lot of gaming streams too. She has other content too. Check out Resident Justice on YouTube also. I'll put those in the description below once I'm done publishing this, and I'll edit the description, so you'll find all their channels down there later on. And yeah, there's other people that I like to mention, but I can't think of it right now because just my mind always loses it right when I start doing it because I had all these things in mind, but I didn't do it. But until next time, guys, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe.